doing another Empires of the Undergrowth development stream. I'm currently in the Halloween level object. I was just checking that it is going to show up this year, and it will, because it ignores the year and it just does it on a date based around Halloween. So you can be a spider if you want at the minute. In fact, that's available up to the 5th. Actually, it stops on the 5th. So 4th of November, up to the 4th of November, you can do the spider level anytime. Maybe we'll have a little play of that later. See if it still functions with the new movement code. I don't guarantee that it will. We might need to relook at that. But anyway, so today we are back. And what we're looking at today is achievements. Now, those dedicated people that show up in my channel will undoubtedly know that I'm introducing achievements into the game with the next update, and in fact, it's ready to go as soon as everything else goes. So it'll be part of the next update, and what is currently ready to go is the Formicarium Stage 1 achievements. Now, with them, there is just... there's only one hidden one, which is currently the spider level. One for completing the spider level. However, let me just find... so it's basically all the achievements for 1112, the first Formicarium challenge. So it covers those, and we covered a wide range of things as well. So there's a lot of... So, for example, there's an achievement for doing it on normal, but there's also a task for doing it on normal. So there's an the achievement of completing the level itself, and then there's an extra task you can do to get an extra achievement. And each one of those levels and each difficulty on those levels has an extra task you can do to unlock more to unlock the achievement. And we might go through those in a bit. However, for now, I'm going to go through some of the concepts that people have come up with. So not just me. I mean, when we originally did our very first achievement live stream, we kind of had a brainstorm, and I might I'll say this time as well, if you've got any ideas, do feel free to post them in chat, and we'll have a think about them. But also, there's a post on the forum about it, and that's where I've taken all of these ideas from. So it's a mix between the original stream ideas we came up with and what other people have posted in the forum since. And there's some really nice ideas. So we're going to be making some decisions on these today. Along with maybe starting to get them in. We'll think about where we get them in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a document that you can all see. We can all take a look at these together. We're looking at the tier 2 Formicarium stuff today. Oh, looks like the document's already here. Cool. I'll just reposition that. So you guys can see it a bit better. So these are just concepts that people have come up with. So what we have here is, so first of all, so below each one, I'm gonna write decisions. So we already have the ones for completing the levels are going to be there. So there'll be complete 1, 2, 1 on easy, normal, hard, insane, with the challenge on. They'll all be there, so we don't have to worry about those. But what we need to think about is the tasks. So let me just double check what the whether there's an easy task as well. I think there is, but well, I guess we'll see. So there's do 1 1. Hang on. Let me just bring you in here. Okay, so for example, down here, there's defeat 1 2, 1 2 normal, hard, insane. Okay, then we've got a normal, hard, and insane task. Okay, so easy mode on the levels doesn't have a task, so that's something to remember. So we need to come up with 3 tasks, and then there's also that's win the challenge. There's a challenge in the tasks, and then finally there's a challenge in tasks insane. So there's actually 5 tasks we need to come up with for each level. So for example, the level 1 2 task to complete with challenge and insane mode is to win it with on insane difficulty. Oh no, it's just to win it. It's this one. It's to win the level whilst losing at least 50 eggs to the slave makers. So basically, you've got to let the slave makers take a lot of your eggs. I don't know how hard that'll be, and that one might require some balancing. Again, a lot of these haven't been properly tested, and they're going to be tested within the beta test of the next patch. So we'll be running a test with our beta testers. However, so that's an example of that. But now we need to come up with some ideas or decide on some ideas for this. So we need a normal, hard, insane, challenge, Challenge insane. Okay. So I'm going to copy and paste these under each. So the 2 levels. And we'll also deal with the Formicarium ones as well. Now the Formicarium ones, they just have one task, unlike the levels themselves, mostly because the Formicarium tasks can be overcome by grinding. So I didn't really feel the need to include loads of them there. The real skill comes in the individual levels. So, like I say, some of these are from the forums, so they've got weird language used because people are talking about specific things. Right, so decisions on normal. Okay, so lose X number of ants to drowning and win. That's similar to the 50 eggs concept, I guess. Kill daytime beach. Right, I actually wanted this. I was thinking of doing something along these lines for a hidden challenge, for a hidden achievement. So I don't think I'm going to include it here. So I'm not particularly excited about that one. This one's cool, but I wanted to use it as a hidden one. Have no enemy enter your nest. Now that is a tough one. Is it tough? It's not that tough. In fact, it's actually arguably easier to do that with the spiders. But it's something the player might not have thought about before. So I'll put that preliminarily for now as the normal mode one, and we'll have a think. Clear resources from the lowest beach, the whole level. Okay, so that's essentially have no resources get destroyed in the tide at the lowest level of the beach. That's quite specific. So what I'm going to do here is move this onto the hard one for now. Have this as the normal one, although I might rewrite it slightly and do it something instead like have no more than 100 resources lost to the tide. Do not build any workers. Oh, that's an interesting one. Workers are actually really useful in this one because they speed up your harvesting. I'm actually going to put that down as the challenge one because the way the challenge works with the beach tiger beetle larvae, they snatch things and pull them down. Having lots of workers helps out with that because the workers can be used as bait to some extent. So it would definitely affect the play there. I'll think about it. Prevent spiders from entering your nest. That's similar along the lines of have no enemy enter your nest. I don't think we need another one along those lines. Kill A or X number of creatures on the surface that spawn at night. I like that one actually. In fact, you could make it so you've got to do it in the early stages of the game as well. I'll put that there for now. And beat the level with at least one black ant worker alive. That one's actually hard. I'll explain that one a little. So the level starts with your wood ant nest, and wood ants, one of the ways they start new nests is by invading a black ant nest, and they essentially kill the queen and replace the queen. So often you'll end up with a... One second, I need to get rid of that noise. It's coming from something. Not really sure, you know. No. Anyway. So yeah, the what have we got? So do not build any workers. Be level at least, right? So yeah, keeping one ant black worker alive is an interesting one, but I'm not sure everyone would get it. You're right, the Carp King. Good to have you with us. So I think I'm gonna move on from that one now. Beat the level without killing enemy ants. Okay, so not sure about that one. So in order to not kill enemy ants, you would need to... You'd need to avoid the beach during... Oh god, no, you can't do that. The issue is that you've got the wandering enemy ants, and if they attack you, you will fight them back. I guess you leave the beach to the ants. You don't harvest from the beach, I guess. So you just harvest the resources underground and kill creatures at night. If you only send out level 1 workers on gather though, they would still attack back. They probably wouldn't kill the well, they might not kill their targets. You need to be careful though still. I guess you could. There's probably a couple of strategies to doing it. Like, just focus on underground to start with. Then once you've cleared out underground, every night send out armies to kill all surface creatures you can at night, rather than hiding away. Maybe you could do it so, like, kill less than 10 enemy ants or something like that. So the odd one didn't fail the achievement. Anyway, So here, rather than clear resources from the lowest whole level, I'm going to say lose no more than 100 food to the tide. See, that one's really hard. So yeah, beat the level. This is an optional one, really. I'm not sure where it'll go, but so I kind of want more of a beach tiger beetle larvae focused one for challenge insane, particularly if we're gonna have don't build any workers as the challenge. So maybe this one should be kill 50 beach tiger beetle larvae. So that seems like that is a lot. You'd have to actively be hunting them. Let's have a look how many spawn. I'm just going to quickly look up how many actually spawn in the level. And remember, this is on insane mode, so it'll be a lot. How much food does the beach tiger beetle larvae give? Now again, it's 15, so it's really not very much. I'm waiting for a parcel to arrive. Keep my eyes out. Car alarm. Everyone loves a car alarm. So yeah, the beach tiger beetle larvae don't give much food, which kind of leans into the concept of an achievement, because it's not really an advantage to take them out. You'd be hunting them for the sake of hunting them. Well, it is, in that it clears the way. But you normally wouldn't take out 50. If you're taking out 50, you're going out of your way to kill them. Level blueprint. Okay, so I'm guessing it's this spawn next challenge pack. So that spawns a beach tiger beetle larvae, but how many of them? Difficulty quantities. Challenge spawner. Right, I need to find challenge spawners. Zero 0247. Can you hear that car alarm? It's lovely, isn't it? I hope you can't. Oh, looks like my parcel's arrived. 1 second. Sends it back in its original box, which they said they wouldn't do. But never mind. Right. Sorry about that. Okay, I can stop there. Oh, the car's stopped as well. Thank goodness. Alright, so I can stop worrying about the parcel arriving. Okay, so spawn challenge creatures. Right, so it looks like it uses a separate group of spawners. Okay, so looks to me like there's lots of them. So these will be the okay, it's actually going to be quite difficult to work out how many of them will spawn. But it's essentially, in insane mode, it's all these numbers added together. There's a 4, 7, a 5, a 6. Looks like I hand decided how many were at each point. Looks like it's kind of an average of 5 or 6 per spawner. And there is 42 spawners. So 50 is perfectly doable. Or should be at least. Oh, look what we got here. Lovely. This will be the new ramps coming in, but they're not fully functional yet. I love the texturing on the side. Beautiful. Oh yeah, I wasn't actually programming. I was just looking up numbers. But yes, I was zooming around a ramp there and talking about it, even though you can't see it. Okay. Anyway, back to the document. Okay, so 50 is perfectly doable. I think that's a reasonable goal here. But maybe it'll need to be more. I don't know. We'll figure it out as time goes on. Okay, so basically, does beating the level with no more than 10, with killing no more than 10 enemy ants, is that better than any of these? Right, it's definitely not going here. because I don't really think that one's compatible with the beach tiger beetle larvae ones. So kill X amount of creatures on the surface that spawn at night. That doesn't seem like a particularly hard insane challenge to me. Maybe the no more than 10 enemy ants should be the insane challenge. Because to be honest, I think killing X amount of creatures at night would actually be beneficial after a certain point. And I also think this is going to tie in nicely with this anyway. I think this is going to force this anyway. So I think we just replace that. We just replace this one. Well, I guess we can always come back to it. Usually send out a suicidal worker to attack a random night creature, so it goes into the nest to die. Yeah, that's a good strategy actually, because they attack you once you hit them, don't they? That's not a bad strategy at all. Okay, we'll go with this for now. We'll come back to it later, maybe. Okay, so Queen of the Hill. There was some fun ones in this, from what I remember. So let's have a read. So harvest some fish. Now this one's actually trickier than it sounds, because you've got to get all the way down to the enemy beach. But I think it should be more specific. Something like harvest 100. Harvest 100 fish. No, not 100 fish. 100 resources. Oh, what would you call it? You don't want to say fish food either. Because people will be looking for the fish food in the level. Yeah. 100 resources from a fish. Okay, I'd like this one to be kind of a midway one. So maybe hard mode. Beat the level without using melee. Now that's not a bad one either. That would actually be pretty hard. You could put that potentially on the normal one, because they stand the highest chance of actually succeeding there. Fish worth of food. Food resources. Clear the underground. See, that's an interesting one. Although again, I think it's actually one that's to your advantage. If you've got the brain to be able to multitask and clear the underground whilst harvesting the surface, I think that's the best way to play the level. So I might save that one for some of the leaf cutter levels where it's actually not much of an advantage to clear the underground. that one works. I don't particularly like the build no workers on this. I think I'll leave that one. Kill an amount of ladybirds. See, that feels like a normal challenge to me. Maybe this one should be the insane one. Anyway, we'll keep going anyway. Build no workers. We've already done that. Kill A or X amount of wolf spiders. See, that one's a funny one. Because there are wolf spiders in the level. They're on the lower levels of the beach. That one's also a funny one. That means you've got to fight everything on the surface. So we've got the challenge and the insane. I guess you've got to be dedicated to clearing the underground. You've got to multitask. Okay, so thinking about the challenge as well. I don't think any of those... Okay, there's... Well, that's quite a fun one. I like that one. So I'm not sure about this one here. I suppose you say crabs and wolf spiders. Essentially, it causes you to need to push out at night. Well, that's probably actually a good one for the challenge. I think we've already added let no enemies enter the nest, haven't we? So I'm going to go with this one, I think. I'll do it on the challenge insane as well. Just because I think this is actually going to be difficult. Wolf spiders or crabs. We'll say 10. There's not that many that spawn each night, so I think you'll be... I think basically over multiple nights you'll have to push out onto the lower levels of the beach and attack things. Yeah, I think we've hit the same conclusion. Okay, so kill X ladybirds, harvest 100 food, fish and take it home, beat the level without using melee. I think that's good. Get the enemy colony to kill a beach tiger beetle larvae. I think that one's a good fun one. And you'll be attempting to do that on the final day when the enemy colony is sending ants up to those points. I mean, it might be really easy. But essentially what you want to do is you want to take one low, then send an ant in to trigger it as the enemy colony is arriving so it's available for them to attack. I think that's what you want to do. Okay, and finally, the Formicarium challenge. So in this challenge, this is the one that ends with all the beech wolf spiders. So it ends with 10 beech wolf spiders. Let no enemies enter the nest. Oh, don't want to be nuts. But you can don't forget, there's actually going to be difficulties in these now. So and this doesn't require any set difficulties to do it. So maybe don't let enemies enter the nest is a good one. Yeah, I think that's not a bad one at all. Okay. All right. We've made some decisions here. I think we've got some pretty cool achievements to get. So what I might do then is start with taking a look at this level, I guess, and see where I can start crowbarring in the achievements. Okay, so let's remove this document from screen. Actually have a look at the level code. Okay, so the first one we're looking at is on normal mode. Have no enemies enter your nest. Really? I've got that twice. Ah. Maybe we need to think of a better one for the Formicarium challenge too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not arguing that it'd be hard. I'm just thinking whether it's worth it. It's more that it's pretty much the same thing twice. Like, especially as the 10 wolf spiders at the end of the challenge, the Formicarium challenge. It's very similar to a large to all the little spiders. So maybe that shouldn't be the one at the challenge. But people haven't really given many suggestions for the challenge, and we need to rethink. The other one that was said on the challenge was trigger the Queen ability. However, I think that happens most of the time anyway. If you've got the Queen ability, it usually triggers on that level. And unless that was meant to be for the Formicarium Challenge 3 and it was like the enemy ability. Right, let's think about Challenge 2 for a moment. So, Challenge 2, he sends in different groups of ants for a while. Then he sends a continuous flow. Then he sends beach tiger beetles. And finally, he sends wolf spiders. The beach tiger beetles stay dead until the next day when killed. Yes. What in 2-1? It if you kill them on a level where the tide rises, when the rising tide hits one, it destroys all its food. However, if you kill them on the upper level, they stay there. I suppose you could lure a beach tiger beetle up to the upper levels, but luring's very hard in this because your ants turn to attack. Right. So I can't think. Challenge 2. The challenge 1 achievement I added was to complete the challenge without black ants. So basically you've got to just build workers, which I'm not even sure if it's possible. But we'll see. But I'm not sure about the achievement here. I don't want to do similar achievements, so I don't want to do like, we'll do the next one without doing wood ants. I'd like something different. I don't know. It might be possible to kill a beach tiger beetle before the first night. I think you'd have to heavily invest into it though. Might be a fun one. Not sure about this one. I suppose we come back to it. Maybe I missed something on the forum. Anyway, let's enjoy the sounds of the car alarm again. Not my car, is it? No, it's not my car. The delightful sounds of the city. It doesn't have an official Discord. There is an unofficial one, which quite a few people have joined, I believe. So you might want to get involved there. Okay, so let's have a look at the level blueprints. I also want to think about how I implemented them on the other levels and follow a similar pattern. Just to let you know, I'm gonna end the stream at 4:30, which is in 3/4 of an hour. It's only a shorter stream today. It's not my normal slot. Okay, so let's have a think about these achievements. So the first one was have no enemy enter your nest. This was on normal mode. So there should already be code to do with the enemy entering your nest. It's not to do with predators loose in the nest. It's just references for patrols. Challenge mode. Game difficulty variables. Tide rise timer. This might be it. Yeah, this looks like it. Okay, so basically, if this ever triggers, you failed the achievement. You'd like to see exploding ants. There was they came up, didn't they? And because all of a sudden, articles started appearing about them. The explodey ones. The cricket sounds. They're ambient sounds in the level. Here, I'll turn it down. There you are. Cricket sounds off. It's the ambient sound often plays just in the background when you're developing. It's the way the ambient sounds are set up. I believe they're only meant to play when you're near a certain area, but okay. Okay, so that's unbinding it. Going underground CR. Creature reference. It's a creature reference of the creature that's gone underground. Doesn't look like it's used here though. So what I think happens is when an attack squad spawns, it calls this function which binds it to this event, which triggers when they go underground. Now, if any attack squad member goes underground, you've failed the achievement. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a variable in. Failed H1. At the moment, I'm not I haven't named the achievement, so we'll probably rename that variable when we do. But essentially, triggering that fails that achievement. You will never get it. Okay, so that's one achievement figured out. How are we going to work it in? The next, lose no more than 100 food to the tide. Now this one could be a bit more tricky because we might not... I very much doubt we've got a system in place to track how much food is destroyed. Bombardier beetles would be an interesting enemy. I agree. I definitely think in the next two tiers of the Formicarium, we should, one way or another, find a way to get Bombardier beetles in. I think there's lots of different types of them, isn't there? Okay, so the second achievement, I'm going to have to look at the tide itself. So it's deadly water volume, I think it's called. Deadly water volume. Okay, so I'm looking at the point where it destroys food. So that looks like food destruction to me. But I also think it happens here as well. Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a variable in. Total food loss. So I've made an event here called add to food loss. All the event does is it takes the current food, adds an amount of food to it, and sets it. It's just a shorthand for what comes next. So we're just literally totaling the food up here. Doing the same here as well. Something I hadn't considered here. And this may actually be currently affecting the game. Is that check for things as they overlap there and check for currently overlapping. If they run twice, I mean, it's not going to affect this harvestable one because this gets set to 0 as it happens. However, it will affect the other one. It will affect this one, and in fact it will keep it there until the lifespan. Huh. Okay, I'm just going to add a check in here. To prevent a problem which I can see. If lifespan is less than or equal to 0, then we'll set a lifespan. So basically, if there isn't currently a lifespan. Is that right? I think that's right. There's a small chance this won't work either. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. Okay, sorry, coming back. It's not confirmed. I can't. I can't make decisions on my own. We've definitely talked about bombardier beetles as a group, and I think we've talked about wanting to get them in somewhere. But we haven't. It's not confirmed until we've got a set beetle that's being modelled and planned and put into the game, and that isn't happening at the moment. So at the moment, it's just I agree, we should have that. Which one of the crew am I? I am John. It is getting dark out the side, indeed. Winter's drawing in. I think this is fine. Yeah, I'll just believe Bombardier missiles are coming in the future. I'm disappointed. Hi, the Carp King. Okay, so that's that. Then, hang on, before I save that, let's make total food loss be available to access from the outside. And then from the level blueprint, what we'll do is at the end of the level, we'll have a look at... So on victory, we'll have a look at how many resources were lost and then make a decision based on that. Okay, so I think it's victory action I need to put it into. So at the moment, I'm just going to put a section up here away from everything else. So if it's greater than 100, which one's this? This one's no enemies enter nest. Actually, that one currently won't work for enemies you've attacked and then let enter the nest. I'm going to need to look into that. Because that shouldn't work under those circumstances. You're going to play some DSTs. DST. Don't starve together. You enjoy it. I do mean to play that game again at some point. Maybe when I get bored of Destiny again. It's probably not going to be for a long time. Not considering the rate they're bringing out content at the minute. What was the next one? Beat the level killing no more than 10 enemy ants. Okay, so there is a chunk of level code which is to do with killing certain creatures. Oh, here's the attracted night creature code. No, maybe not. We'll worry about that later. Okay. There's an event somewhere to do with killing a creature, like, and it just announces the creature that's been killed. I'm sure it'll be set up in this level somewhere. Ha! There we are. Okay, so far it only activates on your queen dying. And the beach tiger beetle dying. So I basically need to set this up for all types of wood ant that spawn in the level as well. Which I believe are... I think there's 4 types. Maybe there's not anymore. So spawn wandering wood ant, which does this stray wood ant. Which is here. Which is called... This might even be a black ant, you know. It is. It uses the stats of the black ant. What am I doing? Okay, so that was wandering wood ant. Spawn patrolling wood ant point. Add patrolling wood ant. I think it's. I think otherwise it's just wood ant A and wood ant B. I think stray wood ant A, wood ant B. Don't know if melee wood ants ever get spawned. Don't even know if this function's used. Right, well, for now, I'm just going to assume we've got stray wood ant. So it's swarm wood ant A, swarm wood ant B. I think they're the only ones used. I suppose I can cover all bases and also get the soldier as well. Swarm would ant A. Swarm would ant B. Swarm would ant soldier. And that actually covers all swarm wood ants, so we'll just catch all cases, I guess. A, B. Okay. Okay, so that covers all bases, but we also need to do it's not equal to 0, so it's not the player's wood ant. So it's just going to be an integer here of killed enemy ants. Okay, so we also need to look at the damaging creature and make sure that's the player, because I don't want the wood ants to end up being killed by the tide, and for you to lose because of that would be annoying. So, this is getting a bit complicated. But if the attack is valid, actually, if it's not a creature, the cast will fail. So, so yeah, there's that check's built into this already. So if the attack is valid, and it's the player's. So if the attack is valid, and the dead creature isn't ID is not the player's, and the killer is the player's, then we add to the total. Okay, that should work. Yeah, I'm gonna shift this out over here a little bit. Just give it a comment so we know what it is. Okay, and then again with the victory action, if it's greater than 10, then we fail. Okay. Right, so that's 3 achievements. Now in the challenge one, we do not build workers, and the challenge insane, we kill beach tiger beetle larvae. So I'll do the beach tiger beetle larvae killing one, because that one is significantly easier for me to deal with. And I'm going to run out of time in the stream. Okay, so the beach tiger beetle larvae stuff should be really simple. Just add another one here. Also need to open the beach tiger beetle larvae creature so I can get its name. I'm just going to increment that. There we go. And we don't need to do any checks on that. Just every time one of those dies, increment that number. And again, if that's greater than 50, we succeed in this one. Right. Okay, and the final achievement we had down on this list is do not build any workers. So the issue with this is there's an easy way you could trick the system if we did it so at the end of the level you checked how many workers you had. And the easy way of tricking it is to build workers right the way through the level, and then when you know the level's about to end, quickly sell all your worker chambers. So the way we get around this is we can either constantly check, so every few seconds we can do a check to see how many workers the player has, and if it ever goes above 7, then we flag the failed flag. That one's nice and simple to do. We just have to add a check in that checks every 5 seconds or so. Alternatively, we can try and hook into a build event that announces something each time something's built. However, I don't know if we even have one of those, so I think I'm just going to go with the simple solution for now. So I'm just going to add a function in. It's going to be check worker achievement. We just need to quickly have a look at how many, what's the maximum number of workers the player has. Max workers is gained by looking at, I think you just get it from the game mode or game state. Here, I'll get max workers by colony ID. That's greater than 7. See, that's dead simple. What we got to do then is, under the right conditions, we need to set a timer checking that constantly. So the conditions are, challenge mode is on. I think that's right. Yeah, so wherever it is in the code I activate challenge mode, I'll also set the timer going for this. And then we'll use that at the end of the level. So I'm just saving at the moment. And once we've done that, I think that'll do for the stream today. I unfortunately won't be here at my normal time on Thursday due to my sister's wedding. But I'll be back next week. Usual Thursday slot. Okay, so essentially in the level code, thanks very much. I'm sure it'll be a lovely day. So wherever I activate the challenge, set up challenge mode. Here it is. So just before any of that, function's called check worker achievement. It doesn't need to check particularly frequently, so I'm going to make it do it every 12 seconds. Like if you build an extra worker and you panic, this might give you a chance of saving yourself. Okay, and finally, I'm just going to shove this in here as well. These will just be an aid to memory for when I'm actually properly implementing them into the achievement system. Okay. There, I've found the right places to put all those 5 task achievements in. So that's good. Now, obviously that's not the end of an achievement. I still need to do the artwork for them. So I've got to produce the artwork, create the versions for Steam and for the in-game achievement viewer. Got to write the text for each achievement properly. I know we wrote it roughly today, but that's not a final version by any stretch of the imagination. I also need to do this for the other level and for the Formicarium challenge. We need to think about the Formicarium challenge too, actually. So we didn't reach a final decision on that, on what we want to do with it. So yeah, but so there's plenty of stuff for us to do. I'll probably carry this achievement stuff on next week. Just a quick update on Liam with his movement code. So Liam's been advancing the movement code, moving along with it. Today he was dealing with an issue we've had where the ants, when they're next to a wall, they sort of bounce off it, but sometimes if there's an ant next to them, they'll turn to face that ant, then turn away from it and back to the wall, and they end up wiggling left and right. So he was addressing that issue. He's still working on the ramps with the movement code. I'm not sure if he got round to that today. Depends on how he's dealing, how his wiggle dealing is going. After that, there's still other separate cases. So, for example, in level 3.1, there was a load of nav mesh modifiers, which essentially make certain paths more or less attractive to the enemy colony. Now, that hasn't yet been implemented into our system, so he's going to have to look at that, and he also needs to deal with the situation in the Formicarium Challenge 3, where the tube is placed in the middle. That causes the nav mesh the navigation systems to change, because now all of a sudden there's a load of accessible paths. He needs to be able to deal with that scenario. So there's still a few scenarios he hasn't dealt with, and there's a couple of more bugs that haven't been finished with it. But it's coming along, and hopefully by the time the game releases, hopefully by the time the movement code's ready, we should have a lot of content ready to go. So hopefully the movement code will be done. We'll be able to move swiftly into a testing period. And then as soon as we're in that testing period, I will let everyone know. And at that point, you can expect an update coming imminently. Right, but for now, though, that'll do us. Thanks very much for joining. And I will see you in a week, actually. A week on Thursday will be the next stream. See you then. Ta-ra.